thing whenever they want. Second, there is a daily volunteer email that you can activate. It's going to go out every day at 10. So if you enter a service request now, it's not going to go out until tomorrow because we only want to send one email per day because people were complaining before. It's like, hey, I get, there was 20 service requests. I received 20 emails from the village. Just get me out of your list because this is spam, right? So now what we do is like, now we only send one email, right? That has several opportunities. So that is a reasonable amount of email out. Except sometimes you have these urgencies, as Susan perfectly explained. This lady has a medical appointment tomorrow. The village really wants to help. We need to get this out immediately. So in those cases, this is how you do it. First, you come here, same list of service requests we were before. And then you saw the magic button for the calendar, right? There is a magic button for the multiple selection. So you can click that one. And what it does, it adds these checkboxes here, right? And then with the checkboxes, what you would do is that you choose the service request you want to write about. And you can select more than one, okay? And then if you choose, let me see, I'm going to choose these two, drive and drive. And then you, from this, well, you can delete them. That's not what we want to do. The other thing that you want to do is you get the selected service request and you send them to the email messenger, okay? Maybe there's a few words missing in that button, Jim would say. Okay, now that I open it, it actually opens up the email messenger that I don't know if you're familiar with, but basically the same email messenger you can find, through the menu. But we open it up for you and we prepare the email for you already. First, we're sending it already to the mailing list of your volunteer services, to your drivers, because the two service requests that we chose, they were both right. So then in that case, well, then we want to send this message to the writer. So we're already doing this automatically for you, selecting what's the group you want to send to. For some villages, they have this hub and spoke, work by different neighborhoods or different towns. So you can also say, okay, I don't want to send this to all the volunteers for rides. I want to send them to those that are downtown because, or you can send them to all of them. This is a title of the email. We give you a title already. Well, this would be your village, right? So this would be Portland area villages, highlighted service requests. But you can edit this is the title of the email. You can change it, right? If you want to say something like, oh, no, we have urgent doctor appointment tomorrow 4 p.m., right? Well, you can do that. And then down here in the message, we have done a couple of things for you. First, we have put the two service requests that you selected. They are put here in the table, so they're included in the email. This is happening at this time for this member, this address, what does she need? She goes into doctor, and then you have the more details about the service request, a button that takes you to the list of all service requests, and then you have a message that you can also customize here. So you can say here, this appointment is super important. You know what I mean? You can personalize the message, and then at the end, just scroll down, and then there is a send button. It's going to send to the whole list. There's one more thing here. Says no homepage has been defined. This looks ugly because actually there is also a template you can define. If you're familiar with the email templates, it's kind of some language you can define once, and it's going to be included for all your emails. So you don't need to type that every time, right? For example, you can go to the email templates and say, well, here I want to say that, well, we had this urgent last minute request, etc., and you can reuse it and edit it before sending it. Okay, and that's interesting. I'll do one more thing. Is telling you that once the service request is matched, right? Your volunteer, you give them the instructions how they want to do it. So, if they want to call the member, etc., and they agree, or if you're calling the member, we're sending an email to the village to tell you that that one was matched also, that this volunteer is going to do this thing for that member. And then basically what happens, like normal course of things, just the member will show up, the volunteer will show up at the member's house, they will do their thing, and you don't need to do anything at the office, right? The only thing you need to do is keep an eye on the calendar that we saw before to make sure everything is matched. And when it's not matched, you have different tools also to find a volunteer. You can also make a phone call. You couldn't match this one automatically on the website. You can still call your volunteers, send them an email, ask them if they would be willing to help in this particular case. Now, once the service is finished, right? The volunteer went, they did it, etc. Overnight, Helpful Village will assume that because it was matched, that it was done. Okay, so the status will automatically change from matched to completed. Okay, now, well, that's okay. And then when it's completed, we're also going to send an evaluation form. And you can customize this. You can decide if you want to send the evaluation form to the member and the volunteer. Most of the time, send it to the volunteer always, and the member, if you want to, right? If you want the member to say how did it go. When the volunteer is doing that, they receive automatically an evaluation form where they can say everything went great, everyone, it was okay, but there was a minor issue, or things were not right, there was a problem. And then in that case, they need to explain what happened. So basically, most of the things, like, we designed the process so that when everything goes well, automatically goes to completed, they get an evaluation form, they fill it out, it's 5 stars, you need to do nothing about it. But when something gets off the rails, right? For example, they say, no, there was a major problem. Then we send you an email to the office saying, okay, there was an issue here. The volunteer or the member said that there was a problem when they were doing the ride. And then we call that to your attention. Now, in some cases, there is this other case where basically we're assuming that it was completed, but maybe the member is calling you back and say, hey, you know what? The volunteer never came. He forgot. Well, in that case, you go to the service request and then you change it, right? It goes to from, I don't know, basically it would go from match not to completed because it was not done. So I guess it would go to unfulfilled, I would say. If someone has a better idea, you can tell me. And then obviously you need to call your volunteer saying, I mean, we had this plan and got this issue, what happened? Obviously, we basically what I'm telling you is that the system takes care of the cases where everything goes well, which I guess is the majority of the cases, right? What Jim was saying before, like, okay, we made the request, they do it, they complete it, they fulfill the service evaluation, you need to do nothing about it. But when there is something that goes off the rails, we're gonna rely more on the human interaction, having, the village administrator is making the phone call to the volunteer, asking what happened, why the member was disappointed, why it was not completed, and stuff like that.